Okay, Johnetta, you can go ahead and start.
Thank you. All right. Hello, and welcome to Unity of Fredericksburg. My name is Janetta, and I am pleased to welcome all of you to the University of Fredericksburg weekly online gathering. At Unity of Fredericksburg, we are advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. We thank those of you watching on YouTube, live or later, and invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are able to attend live, we encourage you to join us in the Zoom community for the full Sunday morning experience, including music, prayer, and connection. Our weekly newsletter includes the Sunday service link, and you can subscribe to receive that on our website at uofva.org. For everyone local to Central Virginia, Unity of Fredericksburg offers a variety of fun and enriching in-person gathering every month. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter at uofva.org for all the details. Our message today comes from our minister, Reverend Cheryl Farr. And now, here's Reverend Cheryl.
Thank you, Johnetta. Welcome, 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 everyone. Whether you are with us right now in the Zoom room or watching later, we are so glad to have you a part of the energy that is Unity of Fredericksburg. Our broadcast date today is January 28th, 2024. And in January, we have been talking about the spiritual foundations of the Unity of Fredericksburg annual theme for 2024, which is well-being. And today we are looking at wellness and well-being and asking, what's the difference? So we might be splitting hairs a little bit, but before we get into it, I thought I would share a couple of one-liners from an expert in splitting hairs, and that would be the brilliant late comic George Carlin. These are clean ones. So here's a few from George Carlin. Here he says, if you try to fail and succeed, which have you done? Got me. Don't sweat the petty things and don't pet the sweaty things. Sounds like good advice, doesn't it? And here's one more. The reason I talk to myself is because I'm the only one whose answers I accept. So there's a little bit of hair splitting to start off our time today as we kind of tease apart the hairs of what is wellness and what is well-being. So you might think that it might be just a matter of semantics, but it's all for a good purpose. So it's all about gaining clarity, setting intentions as we work on the new year. So let's start with some basic definitions. I always like to start there. So I just use just straight up web searches, what is this? What is that? So wellness. Wellness is the act of practicing healthy habits on a daily basis to attain better physical and mental health. So the act of practicing. Well-being is a mindset based on a combination of a person's physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual health factors. So well-being could be described as how you feel about yourself and your life. So wellness has to do with how you manage your outer life, your physical health, your relationships, your finances, your life choices. You're practicing wellness out there in your outer life, like we all need to do to be healthy. Well-being has to do with how you manage your inner life, your consciousness, and your spiritual orientation. So as we go through 2024, the Unity of Fredericksburg visioning team, they will be coming up with wonderful activities that will enhance and engage us in wellness practices. And you can trust on Sunday morning, we will be focusing on working on our consciousness to develop a better sense of well-being. So we'll have a good balance, right? We'll be working on the outer, we'll be working on the inner, and it's important to have a balance. In fact, when we gathered people together to what I call dream the theme for 2024, one of the definitions of well-being that was shared a couple of times was balance. So with this balance of outer and inner is also reflected in our spiritual practice. It's similar to the distinction between prayer and meditation. So both are important to our spiritual health, but they are different. So prayer is an activity we do with our minds, right? And in Unity, we use an approach called affirmative prayer. So according to Charles Fillmore, Unity founder, in the Revealing Word, affirmative prayer is recognized as the most highly accelerated mind action known. It steps up mental action until consciousness synchronizes with the Christ mind. So that sounds like a pretty powerful activity, doesn't it? Prayer is an activity of mind in which we actively see the truth principles of goodness expressing through people and circumstances, even when the good is not apparent to our human senses. So, another quote here from Eric Butterworth in Discover the Power Within You. The most important purpose of prayer is lifting ourselves to a high level of consciousness where we can be conditioned in mind and body with the all-sufficient life, substance, and intelligence of God. So, just as wellness is based in active, healthy practices in our outer lives, prayer is part of that. Prayer is an activity of mind. Prayer is doing. Prayer is very often focused on what we see happening in the outer world, right? We witness things happening and we work on the activity of affirming truth through mind action in prayer. So that's kind of the wellness side of things in our spiritual practice. And on the well-being side, we have meditation. So meditation is a spiritual practice of non-acting, of not doing. So another quote from Eric Butterworth, this is from The Universe is Calling. There is nowhere to go in meditation. It is not trying to get into something or out of something or up to something, and it is not trying to do something. Meditation puts the emphasis on a state of consciousness instead of a mental exercise. So Unity stresses the importance of meditation, not just prayer. And in the traditional 5-step prayer method that is taught by Unity, the middle step in those 5 steps is meditation. Just going into the stillness, into the silence. So if you think of prayer as we're talking about, this is an active activity of sort of like talking to the universe and saying, I'm witness this going on in the world, and I'm talking to the universe saying, I am claiming wholeness, I'm claiming peace, I am claiming abundance. What meditation is more of a listening energy. It's not doing, it's more of a receiving, a realization energy. So we have this balance here of an active practice like we have in wellness and more of a quiet state of consciousness practice that is reflected in well-being. So it's this balance of doing versus being. That's another way to put it. So doing, of course, would be associated with wellness. And our Sunday talks are going to be here to regularly remind us of the being aspect of well-being, not doing, working in consciousness so that we can attain a sense of well-being and work to improve our sense of well-being. That's consciousness maintenance. So I will be here to be your regular reminder to pay attention to your consciousness. We're doing consciousness maintenance. It's all about spirit. It's all about consciousness, my friends, my folks. So let's take a minute to clarify what is consciousness, right? And that's a big topic. So, we're going to kind of narrow it down to some usable factors. That consciousness is essentially what you are aware of in your mind, right? So this is made up of thoughts and beliefs, feelings and attitudes. That's an easy way for us to kind of narrow it down. Most things that we can think of in consciousness can fit into one of those categories. Our brains like to sort things and categorize things. So there you go. Thoughts and beliefs, feelings and attitudes. And what we know is that whatever we're holding in consciousness, these thoughts, these beliefs, these feelings, these attitudes, determines how we will experience our outer lives. So if we believe that something's going to be painful or bad, then chances are that's how we will experience it, right? If we believe that everything's going to run smoothly and I will have whatever I need when I need it, then the chances that I will be open to all the opportunities that bring that about are much higher, right? So whatever we hold in consciousness determines our sense of well-being. And one of the most important qualities of our consciousness for us to remember, and I'll keep reminding you, I promise, is that our consciousness is pivotal. Pivotal. We can pivot back and forth. So on the one hand, we're not here to deny it. We are 100% human. We're living in these human bodies. We're living in this earth atmosphere, and we're 100% human all the time. We know that. It's so easy for us to get so wrapped up in our human lives, right? So we experience this, aspect of our consciousness that's out here with our human brain operating our material lives. That's our human nature. And we are 100% in our human nature all the time. And by the wonder of paradox, where we just are always in this space of both and, not only are we 100% human all the time, we are also 100% divine all the time. So we experience that in an aspect of our consciousness that I call our divine nature. And we have the capacity to pivot back and forth from having our awareness centered in our human nature, like when we're driving the car, doing things we need to pay attention to on our outer lives. And then when we're able to take a breath, we can shift our consciousness to our divine nature. We can pivot and put our awareness in all that we know that are aspects of God, the energy of the universe. And we have that capacity to pivot all the time. The important thing to remember, my friend, is that every great spiritual teacher that has ever lived has been out there saying that we are meant to use our divine nature as our guidance system. We are not meant to be using our human eyes and ears as the way of how we decide what's right and wrong and how we decide that the world operates. So when things happen in our outer lives, which they do, right? Things happen, weather happens, other people do things, we do things. We're meant to take a breath, pivot our awareness to our divine nature and anchor our consciousness, our thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and attitudes in absolute truth, not in what our human eyes and ears are telling us. Here it is from the Bible, from Jesus. So here's one example of the many, many, many spiritual teachers who have given this lesson over and over again. So this is from the Gospel of John, chapter 7, verse 24. It is short and direct. Jesus says very plainly, do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment. So right judgment means referring to the essence of God as you make meaning in your life. As you look around and decide what's going on in your life, you are referencing the essence of God, things like faith, love, peace, life. You don't look at the world through your human eyes and decide this is sad, this is bad, there's not enough. That's not what we're supposed to reference in our consciousness. We are meant to look to the limitless nature of God as it expresses in you, as you, and claim that energy of wholeness, abundance, joy in everything you see, despite what your human eyes have to show you. And this is an ongoing practice. Some of us might call it an ongoing challenge. You might say, oh, in this area, I have a really hard time with this. And it's like, keep practicing, my loves. Keep practicing. Every spiritual path you can study has the same message, which is to reference divine nature, not what's going on in the outer world as truth. So our goal in 2024, as we explore well-being, is to practice associating our consciousness with elements of our divine nature, our God nature, divine mind, Christ consciousness, whatever you like to call it. And through this practice, we will expand our experience of well-being. Through this practice, we will honor the desire of our hearts. Through this practice, we will honor the desire of our spirits. This practice will honor the desire of our souls, because all of those elements of us, our heart, our spirit, our soul, wants to anchor itself, anchor our consciousness in divine nature. Here's a quote from Ram Dass. Are you familiar with Ram Dass? This is from Being Ram Dass. The soul's game is not about getting a new job, friends, lifestyle, making more money, getting a new car, finding a new partner, or a new therapist. This life is about finding a way to be in the world that connects you to your soul. When we witness thoughtless acts, hurtful acts, violent acts, we can take a breath, pivot our attention, and affirm divine love for all involved. When we witness the appearance of not enough, lack, desperation, we can pivot, take a breath, and affirm abundance. When we witness injury, illness, disease, we can take a breath, pivot, and affirm wholeness and life. Our focus as we do this consciousness maintenance, this practice, is not on changing what is happening in our outer lives, but changing how we experience it in consciousness. So here's a wonderful quote from Myrtle Fillmore. I used it recently in our winter retreat. Myrtle Fillmore, of course, being one of the founders of Unity. Here she has to say, we are not concerned about the results or outcomes, but the change in consciousness that makes the results abiding. So We're not working on trying to fix things in the outer world. So I'll give you a personal example. All right. So there have been times that I've mentioned that I was in an accident. I had a lot of broken bones. There was a big infection. As a result of that, when the doctors kind of had to go in and save my life, I no longer have an entire joint in my body has been removed. Similar to if someone's lost a finger or had a leg amputated or something like that, I'm missing an entire joint in my body. So up here at your collarbones, this is your clavicle, and then you have a joint there, sternoclavicular joint. Well, I have one on the left side, but I don't have one on the right side. And I have had to accommodate that in lots of different ways because I don't have full use of kind of this upper right quadrant of my body. So when I pray, I am not all about, like, I'm not trying to grow back a part of my body that has been physically removed. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm doing is I am associating my being with wholeness. And as I do that, I train my consciousness to identify with wholeness, despite the appearance of being disabled. And what that does is help my mind, my human brain, to be open to the limitless opportunity that is present in my God self, as my God self. So if I was all fixed with, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that, well, this would be a very, very sad way to be, right? And I'd be praying, but instead, what I'm doing is working on associated with wholeness, and that opens me up to limitless opportunities that I can't conceive in my human brain, but it creates that space so that my consciousness can identify with aspects of my divine nature, wholeness, and then I find my way through the difficult moments, the moments. Now, it's not to say that I don't have challenges, and we don't ever want to say, we don't want to deny or minimize our lived experience that is challenging. But as we practice this pivot, this pivoting to focusing on our divine nature, as we claim our power of faith, we're working with our consciousness so that we can be more patient with the experiences in our outer lives. As we claim our power of love, we're working with our consciousness at a soul level to find ways to harmonize and unify. As we claim the power of life expressing in every cell, we support the activity of healing in our body, however the outcome is, and we allow ourselves the space to feel whole, no matter what the physical outcome is or the physical circumstance is. We can be in that space of experiencing wholeness. So we can practice wellness out there in the world, and we can work with our consciousness so that we can experience well-being. So the practice here and the ongoing practice is to anchor all the aspects of our consciousness, our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings, and our attitudes in all that is, in the limitless aspects of the universe, which is expressing in every single cell of our body. So direct your activities from the foundation of your divine nature first. Pivot your consciousness. So will we focus on wellness, healthy activities in our outer lives? Yes. And here on Sunday morning, I am here to remind you over and over and over again that we're all about consciousness. It's all about well-being in consciousness. So I'm going to finish off here before we go to meditation with a quote from Ernest Holmes, a Holmes reading on meaning. Life flows into everything, through everything. It passes into every human event and translates itself through every human act. If you think of life as flowing through your every action, you will soon discover the things you give your attention to are quickened with new energy, for you are breathing the very essence of being into them. So, as we pivot our attention, as we pivot our awareness, and we remember to always pivot back to our divine seat of consciousness, we enhance our well-being, and we will keep practicing that all year long here and beyond, I'm sure. So now we're going to move into a time of meditation. I'm going to open that with a very short quote. This is from Darshana Suresh, Howling at the Moon. There was recently a full moon that was called the Wolf Moon. So, and it's a short little quote. So take a deep breath. And if you wish, you can allow your outer eyes to drift closed and listen to these wise words. There are so many good things in this world, and every one starts and ends in your eyes. So I'd like for you to bring your attention right now to your third eye. So away from your human eyes, which may or may not work as well as they used to, but bring your attention to your spiritual eye, the eye of your soul. So many images from different spiritual paths place a space right there in the middle of the forehead. Put your focus there in your mind's eye. See your world in a consciousness anchored in love. See that energy of love. You might want to give it a color. In Unity teachings, the color of love is pink. So see that color of pink floating through your consciousness, making its way through all of your feelings and attitudes, thoughts and beliefs. And now take a moment to anchor your consciousness in the power of strength. Power of strength is a spring green in Unity 12 power teachings. So it's the color of the leaves of a willow tree that can flex and bend when the storm comes through and then finds its way back when the winds calm. See your consciousness and all the aspects of your consciousness anchored in the power of power. The color here is purple, my friends. It's a regal color, a color that reflects your sovereign control over your consciousness. No one else can tell you how to think or how to feel. You're in charge of your consciousness. Take a moment and anchor your consciousness in the power of imagination. Feel an energy of light blue flowing in and out of all the thoughts, feelings in your consciousness, all of the opportunities yet to come. Also anchor your consciousness in the power of faith. Power of faith is a royal blue, a loyal blue. Faith is always there for you. That capacity in your consciousness to perceive beyond what you see in your outer world. So let's just take a moment now. We'll move into the stillness together. We have all of these different ideas and images we've been playing with. And now let us just settle into the quiet and listen and receive right now. And as we begin to bring our awareness back to the current moment, back to the seat that you're in, the space that you're in, hear the sounds of life carrying on around you. Feel the movement of the air against your skin. Bring this awareness that we have been exploring, this divine awareness. Bring it from spirit into your human mind. Bring it into the heart space. Bring it into the body. And we will conclude our time together with a simple affirmation. I like to put my hand right on my heart space when I say an affirmation so that it's not just floating around in my thoughts. I've got it anchored in my heart space, anchored in the body. So here's what it is. I'll say it once and then you can repeat it with me there at home. As I practice wellness, I experience well-being. Repeat it with me, friends. As I practice wellness, I experience well-being. One more time. As I practice wellness, I experience well-being. And so it is. I'm going to hand it back to my friend, Johnetta. Here she
All
comes.
right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Reverend Cheryl Fair.
Yes.
Thanks for watching the weekly broadcast from Unity of Fredericksburg. Visit our website, uofva.org, to learn more about our mission of spiritual awakening and transformation, and support our ministry with your financial donation. Thanks again for watching.